Hello everyone, this is Alchemical Transmissions. My name is Nicholas, and today I wanted to talk about some of the planetary aspects that we are going to be going through for the next couple weeks and their energetic effect that they're going to be having on us. So before I start, I do practice a different kind of astrology. It's a combination of Hellenistic astrology and 13 sign astrology, which has one more sign in the zodiac, and it's more in line with where the sun exactly is in regards to the constellations. I find it to be very accurate when talking about transmutation and the energetic aspects that the planetary energies and the constellations and our sun are having on us. I believe Western astrology and sidereal are very good at focusing on the archetypes and integrating that in when you're just starting out on the ascension journey, but I feel like 13 sign astrology, focusing on the inner planets, those energies are currently shifting. As they shift, the alchemical processes associated with them becomes a lot more intense, and I feel that the current system that I'm using is very helpful in figuring out what exactly we're transmuting on a spiritual basis. So that's just a heads up for what I use. Anyway, let's get started. So Mercury goes retrograde, and we're going to be talking about how it's going to be in opposition to Jupiter. So Mercury has been in opposition with Jupiter for a while now, and Jupiter has been retrograde, but now Mercury is also going retrograde, and they are both going to be moving into different houses as well. So Jupiter is going from the 5th house to the 4th house, and Mercury is moving from the 11th to the 10th. Today I'm just going to focus mainly on that specific aspect, that opposition, because there's a lot to kind of unpack there, and I think we're going to be experiencing that movement in the coming week. Well, in the coming weeks actually, but it's starting, I think they switch houses, by about the 14th. So let's get into some of the things that we can expect to see. So as Mercury moves into the 10th house and goes retrograde, there's a movement from an emphasis on our social life with friends and a much more idealistic headspace into a more focused, grounded self and what our place in the world is. So we're coming into an awareness of what is holding us back from stepping into our highest good. And so Virgo, speaking about Virgo from an alchemical standpoint, it's about purification of the spirit and integration of that spiritual self. With Mercury going retrograde in Virgo in the 10th house, there's a big emphasis on an awareness of things that are keeping us back from that pure spiritual self. So things in our life that we may have known for a while that aren't the best things for us, and maybe these things started a long time ago. Again, it feels like there has been an awareness of this for a long time, but it's been more subconscious, like things that we know, if we were to sit down and map it out, we could tell that they aren't the best things for our life or in our life, and this can include people, but it never really has come to the forefront of our consciousness as things that should be fundamentally changed, and this is what's being shined a light on. We're really starting to see clearly what needs to be moved out, because we're seeing so clearly our ideal place in the world. We're starting to recognize where our spirit really is wanting us to go and where it is calling us to go. And as that happens, Mercury is bringing this understanding to the forefront of what's holding us back from that. So that brings me to Jupiter being retrograde in Pisces. Now, in Hellenistic astrology, the 4th house, which is what Jupiter has moved into, is going to be moving into around the 13th or the 14th this month. There's a big focus on where you are in the world in relations to family, home, place of living, that feeling, sort of that energy of home and relation, kind of. Now, Jupiter is all about the expansion, and in this case, because it's in opposition with Mercury, and Mercury is going retrograde, this could create a lot of anxiety, because this is going to be there is a large expansion of of vision is what I'm seeing. It's a vision of where you want to be, what that life looks like, that perfect ideal scenario, situation, perfect you that you're seeing, how you want to be, who you want to be surrounded with, what you want to be doing. And again, this isn't coming from your ego. This is coming from your soul, your spirit, your higher self. What is best for you. That is what's becoming more clear. But you have these two planets in opposition, and they're both retrograde. So that's what I'm really picking up on, is that Mercury's bringing through this wonderful understanding and vision of what I just talked about, and Jupiter is almost expanding on that. Jupiter is allowing you to see the massive scope of that, and it's allowing you to see it very clearly. So it's like you're being shown, and you're realizing all the potential, right? The best potential. That's what's being given to you right now. That's what you're seeing. Now, with the retrogrades, and especially Mercury and Virgo, this is going to be a lot of mental energy. I feel like there's going to be a lot of struggle actually putting into practice these changes that need to happen. It's almost like everything's going to be the clearest it's been, but it's also at the same time, it's going to be a lot of angst, because it's almost like you're seeing the life of someone you've never met or something, because it's going to be so different. So you're going to be seeing something that feels so in line with you, like how you want things to go, and like all the ideal things, all the ideal ways you want your life to go. You're going to be able to see that very clearly, but in that, it's going to seem kind of far away. So essentially, you're going to be able to see exactly how you want all the things in your life to be. And because this is Jupiter we're talking about, we're going to want to get there fast. It's like we want to have that right away because it's coming from our higher self. It feels so in line with us that we're going to want to be there at the finish line right away. And what I'm seeing, because these two are in opposition, it's going to make it difficult to really see all the exact steps to get there. There can be a very clear understanding of what's holding you back from moving forward, more in alignment with yourself. But right now but there could be some struggles to implement these changes. It's almost like seeing the end of a game without having started the first part of it. You're seeing the great ending, but there's a bit of a struggle to see exactly how to get there and what exact steps to take. Now, Jupiter being in Pisces, alchemically Pisces focuses on the integration of the mother-father energies to create a third energy. So with the opposition here, there could be a struggle to balance, to implement the purification that I was talking about earlier, to get to the unified self, which is in line with what you're seeing and feeling. So it's almost like I see the energies of Virgo kind of leading to Pisces. So that purification of the spirit leads to the integration of the feminine and masculine aspects, which is the embodiment of our higher selves, right? That balance becomes a unity. So in other words, we're kind of being shown everything all at once in regards to our higher path, our higher spiritual path. You could almost equate it to having a dream that seems so real that you really you wake up and you almost believe that it was real. It's almost hard to believe that it wasn't real. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting, is that you will be able to see this stuff so clearly, but there's going to be kind of a sense of well, where do I go first? How do I start? So a lot of times when these planets go retrograde, especially Mercury, they're not actually going backwards. I know a lot of time people say that it's only revisiting things from the past. Well, it's more so it's like a loop that they do, and then they keep going. So it's not like a regression. It's really kind of like a shaking up before, and it's all about gaining new understanding. So if you can look at it from that point of view and really appreciate this new outlook and this new recognition of how things could be, because I think it's important not to focus on how far you are from those things and be more in the space of just trying to align with those energies that you see where you want to be, right? And the more that you can align with that place, just through visualizing that and not thinking about the negatives of it, how far it may seem away, or maybe if it feels very like it seems very unrealistic in comparison to your current 3D circumstances, it'll be a lot more beneficial to kind of take a step back and understand that this is what's going on, and that you can appreciate that you are seeing this, because it means that you're becoming more in line with your higher self. The more that you visualize, the more you're going to integrate those energies, and the more that'll it'll manifest. So I think there can be a lot of benefits from utilizing that mercurial energy to realize what is holding you back from the changes that you want, because it's going to be kind of in your face over the next few weeks. From there, you can plan to start to sort of weed those things out of your life that aren't helping you. And in that process, you're naturally going to start to align to a more spiritual version of yourself. Yeah, so I'd really look at this as sort of like a refinement period. You're refining the self, okay? And we do that by removing things in our life that are not beneficial to that, right? So that can be any sort of negative influences, addictions, people, places, anything really that doesn't feel lined up with these new energies. Oh yeah, another thing that I wanted to touch on was that what I just mentioned, the refinement. Another part of that I'm picking up on is that it's like this revision of your outlook on yourself. You are believing that these things are possible for you now, right? There's a strong belief in them, which is why there might be so much angst and anxiety and tension around this, because you really are starting to believe that these things are possible for you, and that you can have your life the way you'd like it, grow into this person, where before it might have seemed very unrealistic or so far off base, right? So there's this confidence that is being established now, and I kind of already feel it has started to come in, and I think it's going to keep growing over the next few weeks. Yeah, there's this exception of your unfiltered self, and a confidence and understanding that this version of you is natural. And that's where some of like the uneasiness might set in, because it's going to feel closer to you than ever. But when that happens, a lot of the times we look at our immediate surroundings, and a lot of times they are not where we'd like them to be in regards to this. So there can be some frustration that comes up, and some of this can be a frustration with yourself, because the clearer this becomes to you, the more you're going to realize how many things are in your life that don't feel lined up with where you'd like to be. But this is all a process, and these things are achievable. That's why they feel so real to us, but they do take time, and the shifts do take time to manifest energetically. So there is that in-between time between your beliefs and your knowing changing, and then the outward world reflecting that back to you. So I think the trick during this time is going to be to just take a step back and appreciate this new understanding, and kind of take it in bite-sized pieces on what next steps to take that feel in line with your truth. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next video.